There he is. There he is. See, you need me to come visit. Alright, folks, we got a fish on here. Let's see. What's going on, folks? Bill, Pure Cajun Outdoors. I'm trying to get y'all a fishing video, man. I know it's been a while, but yeah, Hurricane Ida, tons of rain after Hurricane Ida. We just had Hurricane Nicholas come through from the Texas side, dumped a ton of rain, probably got close to 7 inches of rain in a 24-hour span, and that was localized. Where I live at, obviously I'm further south in the state, so a bunch of people further north got a ton of rain that's still flowing down here. So our bayous are flooded, everything is high. Hard to catch bait, but managed to catch a couple threadfin shad in the cast net after about 100,000 throws or so. I got the lines baited up, got them in the water. I typically don't like fishing with smaller shad like this. They go quick. Basically, if you see your pole wiggle from a dink bite, if it taps one time, you can almost say that's one shad off of there. When I have threadfin shad, what I do is I'll bait with multiple shad on one hook. Depending on the size, I'll put anywhere from 3 shad to 6 or 7 shad on one hook. I fish with 10-aught circle hooks, so hybrid circle hooks. It's kind of cool this morning, overcast, still got a light chance of rain and some drizzle and things like that, so we'll just let these lines set for a while. I'm gonna check back in. Got that headpiece on there, fresh gizzard shad. Let's see. All right, folks, I was able to catch some gizzard shad. I say some gizzard shad. I caught a gizzard shad and a couple small threadfin. Super excited about this gizzard shad, though. It's the biggest shad I've caught it in. Is the only gizzard shad. I like those. They're a lot more bloodier, a lot bigger chunks. I'm hoping I can put this out there. Maybe that'll increase my odds over these smaller gizzard threadfin shad I've been using. I'm gonna put them out there and let y'all know. I've been throwing this cast net 100 times. It is a pretty decent sized cast net. It's a 7-foot big mesh. I want to say 5/8. What kind of cast net y'all throw where y'all at? I know different states have different regulations on y'all cast net size y'all can use. To my knowledge, I don't really have a cast net limit size. You can throw 7, 14 foot, 16 foot. If you could throw them, you can use them. I typically off the dock, off the bank, when I'm throwing a cast net, a 7-foot is good for me. It's heavy, it's big, but it's not that difficult to throw. When I'm in my boat, it's not a real big boat to begin with, and a 7-foot sometimes can be a bit much off that front deck. So I like to use a 5-foot cast net in those situations. You can throw it a lot more often. Arm doesn't get as tired. You knock off 2-3 pounds of weight on it. So with that being said, I throw a 7-foot off the bank with a 5/8 mesh. It's a little big. I like it to sink fast because I want to target the bigger fish and mullets. I'm not too much concerned about the smaller threadfin shad and the smaller bait fish we might have in our waters. So I like a net that sinks fast. A lot of weight, big mesh, sinks quick, allows you to catch some bigger bait. If a lot of you guys are having trouble catching bigger fish, and that might be your issue, switch to a bigger mesh to allow your net to sink quick. If you throw your net on top of the water and you kind of notice it hangs around there for a few seconds before it sinks, chances are good you're gonna miss a lot of your bigger baits. You'll still sink quick enough to catch some smaller baits and things like that. So if you're ever having issues with it, try switching up your mesh size. That plays a big difference, a real big difference. At one point in time, all I can catch was a bunch of small threadfin shad, and I mean a bunch of them. And that really wasn't the bait I was looking for. At times, it's all you can get. And what I like about a 5/8 mesh is it's still small enough to catch 3-4 inch threadfin shad. So it still will catch small bait, regardless of what it says on the side of that container. It might tell you for 6-8 inch bait, and that seems big, but it will catch smaller threadfin shad. So you'll be in good shape with that. But let me know in the comments section what y'all states regulations are, and where y'all at, and what size cast net y'all can throw. Do y'all even throw a cast net? Do y'all just dip for bait or set traps? I know in some states y'all can set traps out for y'all bait. We can't do that here. We can set minnow traps and things like that, but bluegill, we can use it for bait, but it has to come off fishing for them. You can't set traps for them. We can't catch them in cast nets. Any bluegill or anything caught in the cast net, anything deemed a game fish, has to be released back into the water. So there's that. Let's get these poles up in here though. Let's see if this gizzard shad's gonna pay off. Got him out there, fresh set. I'm hoping this gizzard shad brings some luck, real bloody. Not like them little small threadfin shad. Let's sit back and see. There he is. There need me to come visit. All right, folks, we got a fish on here. Let's see. All right, folks, we got a fish on here. Let's see. Must have been a garfish. Must have been a garfish. If I had to get there was a garfish, because he just was swimming. Oh, I thought I had something right there, Bob. I hit that piece of wood. They got a branch down there. I think that was a big garfish. Nice sized garfish too. Because that ball was pulling drag. Yeah, if I was a betting man, I was a garfish. All right, it's been about an hour or so. The gizzard shad is not paying off like I thought it would. Too late in the day, fish just not biting. There's something going on. Getting a lot of bites from garfish. Y'all might see, I'm gonna assume it's garfish just based on how they're biting. The pull downs are a little too much to be dink bites. Cause it's some good pull downs. Some even pull drag a couple times. Just not getting the hookups. That tells me it's garfish 9 out of 10 times. It's about the only other option it can be. So I just repositioned my baits. Tried to get a little bit more into the current. I've been fishing on the slack side of a seam that's right here, because our current's moving pretty fast these last couple days due to Hurricane Nicholas that came by and dumped a ton of water on us. So we have a ton of water that's just draining out where I'm at. So, and I was fishing the slack side of that current. So now I'm fishing a little bit more into the heavier current. We'll see if that keeps the garfish away for sure. And if it doesn't, I'm gonna get back into the slack side. Maybe we'll catch a garfish. I'm not gonna re-rig nothing. I don't feel like making steel leaders and sinker slides, and I'm gonna stick with my catfishing rigs right now just to see. I really was hoping for something good from this gizzard shad. But sometimes that's just the way it is, man. It's fishing. Everybody has these kind of days. I'm contemplating if I'm gonna still put this video up, even if I don't catch a fish or not, because I want y'all to see the bad side of fishing also. And not necessarily the bad side, but the downside. You don't always catch monster fish when you come out here. You don't always catch fish, period. And that's a reality that I think a lot of people need to come. I see a lot of people sometimes on the internet, they get burnt out. People I know in person as well, that got into catfishing with me when they seen me fishing, and they get into it, and man, they're not catching a monster fish every single time they go out, and it burns them out. They want to quit fishing. They want to go buy more gear for this and more gear for that. And sometimes, man, you just have to be patient and put the hours in. If you're the type of person who fishes once every other week, 30 minutes here, 20 minutes there, you may luck up sometimes in them 20 minutes and catch you a trophy-sized fish or some decent fish. A lot of times you're not. It's gonna take hours and hours moving around, trying baits, trying different rigs, and it's just gonna take time. You have to put in the work for it. Don't get burnt out though. The only thing I can say is keep throwing. Keep throwing, keep throwing, keep throwing. That's gonna be the only way you're gonna eventually catch them. And when you do, it makes it worth all the times you didn't catch not a thing. And then you're gonna ask yourself, why did I even think about quitting fishing to begin with? That was foolish. So I got these baits repositioned. Let's see what they're gonna do. Catch y'all shortly. I'm having something pull on this line. I'm gonna see if I can't manually set it or something. I personally think it's a garfish, but we're gonna see in a second, because it's just slow pulls. Then he swims with it. There's some strong pulls, but let's just hold this for a second and see. All right, we've been having something pull on this line. I'm gonna see if I can't manually set it or something. personally think it's a garfish. And we're gonna see in a second, because it's just slow pulls. And he swims with it. There's some strong pulls, but let's just hold this for a second and see. Slide and sinker. So if I do feel a garfish, pick up. That way, if a garfish does pick up on it, I can basically open my bail or turn my bait click on and let them run with it. And see, there's not much damage on this bait. That tells me that's most likely a garfish. This bait's done. You just squeeze it in, more red coming out of it. All right, folks, we've been out here for some hours. Y'all be able to look back at the footage and see a lot of garfish bites is what I'm gonna assume it is. They picked up, swim with the bait, picked up, swim with the bait, but always would drop it. So I'm gonna assume I've seen a lot of big garfish, alligator gar rolling today. I wasn't set up to catch gar. I could have changed it up, but typically if I fish gar, I know a lot of people like to fish gar on carts and floats and things like that, depending on where they are, because that's typically where you'll find your garfish, slower moving current. Now in this bayou we have a pretty fast moving current, especially with the way we've got a ton of rain, so there's a ton of water pushing through here. Current's going pretty fast. I've been fishing on the seam in the more slacker water, which is where the garfish will be at. Garfish don't really like to feed a whole lot in fast current, and that's another reason why I think it is. But anyway, if I'm fishing gar on the bottom while I'm fishing catfish, and I know there's a good chance I can catch some, y'all have seen videos before me fishing in the basin. Doesn't look like a traditional gar rig you might see of people that, let's say, fish on the Trinity or things like that in Texas. But however, when I do fish for garfish down here on the bottom and I want to use the same rig I use for catfish, I like to put a sinker slide on my line. On these rods right here, I have just 3-way swivels with my sinker in a fixed spot. And the reason I like to use a sinker slide, anybody who's targeted garfish, they're real finicky, and you would know this. If they feel any pressure, any weight, 9 out of 10 times they'll drop that bait and they won't swim with it too much. With a sinker slide, if I can see that garfish, pick it up a couple times, start to swim with it like he wants to, I can either turn on my bait runner that I have on these pin reels, or open the bail, and allow that garfish to swim with that bait, so it's a lot less likely for him to drop it. On a fixed sinker, like that's on these 3-ways, when he picks it up, he feels the weight, and I'm fishing with some 8-ounce sinkers right now because there's pretty strong current. So he's gonna feel that 8-ounce, he's most likely gonna drop it. It's gonna be real hard for you to get a hook set, unless you're fishing with a J hook or something. But with these circles and offset hybrid circles and things like that, it's gonna be real tricky to try to get one of these alligator gar on here, especially if they don't just come and attack it and set the hook themselves, which didn't happen. So I'm gonna probably pack it up for today. This is gonna most likely be the first video I post where I don't catch any fish. Some people might not like that, but hey, I'm gonna show the good, the bad, and the ugly of fishing, period. Because you're not always gonna come out here and catch fish. There's a lot of times I come out here to try to get content for you guys, and I don't even get as much as a bite. This time I did get a couple bites, couple nice takedowns, probably garfish. Nonetheless though, and I'm gonna still post it up so y'all can see, man, look, I don't always catch fish. I get a lot of people hit me up in my inbox and things like this. Man, we need to go fishing. Let's hook up. And you always catching big fish, and I don't always catch them. You might see the post where I do, and that's why I want to get out the habit of posting only when I catch, because it creates this illusion that, hey man, every time they go out there, they catching fish. That's not the case. You got to put in time. You got to have patience, especially targeting big fish. And if you watch any of these channels and the only thing they post up is huge monster fish, they're not being honest with you. I don't care where you fishing at, you're not, there's gonna be some days where you get skunked and you ain't putting nothing in the boat. So, here we go. I tried. And I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna come back out. The conditions are still real bad. I knew this coming into this day, but I'm still gonna give it a shot, because you're not gonna know unless you put some bait in the water. And so with that being said, if you like this video, for whatever it was worth, give us a thumbs up, drop a comment below, share, subscribe to it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already and you like this kind of content, give us a subscribe, man. That helps us out the most. And share. Facebook, Instagram, all social media platforms, it's the same thing, Pure Cajun Outdoors. Hope to catch y'all on the next one, and I hope to bring y'all a nice fish.